Oh, welcome everyone to the all-new sports show presented by Roger G. Taylor and Associates. I'm Edward Green. Wes Bradshaw will be joining me at the desk momentarily to tell you all about week 2 of the high school football playoffs. We were at Tarboro High School this Friday night to get the latest sights and sounds from there, as well as an interview with Marquise Clapp and Jeff Craddock. We'll be bringing you the action from the rest of our coverage area as well. 5 other teams went into the high school football playoffs in week 2. Only one came out. We'll tell you who it was. We'll also be bringing you the most exciting 60 seconds of your week, a Todd Gurley update, I'm good again, and much, much more from our area, including Bishop's Corner. This is the all-new sports show. Let's go.
Dogs coming on a blitz, a nice pickup. Green gets rid of it and caught on the deflection. Put 6 on the board, Knight fans. That is a touchdown.
And it is caught by number 20, Malik Williams, and he breaks free. He's going. One man to beat. It's a touchdown.
Hello, America.
Yes.
You as well, National Edgecombe, Wilson counties, and welcome to the all-new sports show. I'm Wes Bradshaw. He's Edward Green. Second round of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association state playoffs are in the books. Also in the books are Nash and Wilson County. But anyway, as we digress, folks, we welcome you to another week here on the all-new sports show. We're back.
Yes,
Last week was Wesleyan football for all you folks at home. Hope you enjoyed the final Wesleyan game of the year. Got some big news coming up a little later in Bishop's Corner pertaining to the Battling Bishops. Great honor hath been bestowed upon them.
I thought you had just stumbled on that word. I didn't realize you were actually going for half.
No, I was going for half.
Okay.
Dude, my vocabulary is impregnable. I heard Mike Tyson talk this week. That's where I'm going with that.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Whatever Mike Tyson thinks it means, I think it means.
I don't think Mike Tyson was using it in the same way.
Or maybe he was. Whatever works. Folks, we welcome you back. We have got coming up for you. We made our way out to Tarboro High School.
We did.
On Friday night, saw the Vikings get a big win. That's the game we're going to somewhat break down for you tonight. Folks, coming up on the show, Jimmy Lewis from the Wilson Times is going to be joining us, telling us about 2 big-time 3A football games that took place on Friday night. And Josh Wallfish is going to be talking about what is going on in Edgecombe County and also tell us about Rocky Mount taking their trip to Southern Guilford.
You know, for one of the few times I can remember in my 4 years now doing this, all 3 Edgecombe County teams made it to the second round of the state playoffs.
See, it used to be very commonplace.
Yes. Not recently.
Not recently, but seeing a great resurgence out in Edgecombe County in football. Even the game they lost last night, not a bad loss. Oh. Yeah, not a bad loss for them. So Wallfish will be joining us, folks. We're going to update the Crystal Clear Pepsi 6-pack. It was moving week.
Oh, it was.
Some of us moved up. Some of us
out of the basement. Put Clint where he belongs. Spoilers. First floor is better than the basement.
Folks, we have updates, of course, on Todd Gurley. Don't think we're going to be breaking any new news there, but we might
Something got broken.
We might be breaking some new news for Brian Goodwin fans at home. That's coming up a little later in the show. But, Ed, before we get started tonight, of course, this is the All New Sports Show brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates.
Yes.
Ed, there are multiple ways to talk to us here at the All New Sports Show, none of which involve the telephone that sits directly between us right now. Why don't you tell the folks at home how to get in touch with us?
You can get in touch with, as would be known in Germany, the Conglomerat. And we are at All New Sport Show on Twitter. He is at Wes Bradshaw 21. I am at Edward Green. If we had good graphics, they would be here right now, but we don't because we don't have a graphics machine. You can also get us up on Facebook.com/allnewsportshow. We should be like the Men in Blazers and get the little plaques with the little signs on them and just hold them.
That would actually be an improvement for us, I think.
It's true. You can also get us on Instagram, instagram.com/allnewsportshow, youtube.com/theallnewsportshow, where you can check out all our videos all season long. So many great interviews over the course of the year, and still more to come as well. You can also email us, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Finally, send your letters, parcels, and maybe even Ravens to 1701 Sunset Avenue, Suite 201, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27804.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Blow it up. Not cheesy at all. All right, folks, so the game that Ed and I made our way to, we searched high, we searched wide, we looked for the absolute best matchup possible, and then we decided to go to Tarboro because it was only 10 minutes from my house.
Yes.
Anyway, folks, so we head out to Tarboro High School.
You know what, though? We wouldn't have had much better option than the other one.
No. The other one actually probably ended up being worse and lasted 30 minutes longer.
Yes.
So it really would have been the worst option.
Running clock.
That's right, folks. And we got one at Tarboro High School through most of the fourth quarter. The Tarboro Vikings took on the Warriors of Lewisburg. Lewisburg playing without their starting quarterback who was dismissed from the team earlier in the week.
Which is why we saw an 81 occasionally a quarterback for Lewisburg.
Yeah, it didn't work well for them. Final score 63-15. Tarboro defeating Lewisburg. And Ed, as the Tarboro Vikings are wont to do, they go to the third round of the playoffs.
They go and they won. You know, you look at the numbers, 398 rushing yards from Tarboro. Also, 2 passes, and both were complete. Amazing things happening at Tarboro.
They're on a streak.
Also, they only had 1 fumble, did not lose it, and on a cold night, when Lewisburg also lost 4 fumbles themselves, that's very impressive because you can say what you want about the quality of Lewisburg's defense, and for a while that was actually a decent game. I think going to the half it was maybe 22-12 or something like that, and it was a game for a little bit. But the one thing that Lewisburg still could have done is play good defense and strip the ball out of Tarboro's hands, especially again on such a cold night. Tarboro was very strong with the football, something that they hadn't been much of this year when their losses. But you just look at the names, Shamar Pittman, great night for that young guy. He's going to be back next year. 8 rushes for 147 yards. Put about 3 Madden moves that were just absolutely unbelievable. Right. Stuck in the shoulder and blowing past Lewisburg defenders. Marquise Clapp, who you'll see in a little bit, also almost hit the 100 mark. Deshaun Farmer, who's been our player of the game, I believe, twice this year. He had a very pedestrian 5 carries for 46 yards. Didn't need to do a whole lot.
Still almost averaged 10 yards a carry.
Exactly. I mean, I think that, you know, you talked about it with Jeff Craddock, who you also see that talk later. It does kind of seem like Tarboro is hitting their peak. Whether they can keep it up against what I'm sure will be a much better James Keenan team next week is another question. But they look, especially in that second half, much more impressive than at any point I believe you and I have seen them this year.
They sure did. Offensively, what we're going to talk about first, Malcolm Speller has taken the quarterback position and has made it his own. He's not Peyton Manning, folks. He's not going to throw the ball 40 times a game. They're not going to throw the ball 5 times a game.
You hope. If things are going according to plan.
Yeah, if things are going according to plan, you'll see exactly like you saw last night. 2 for 2 for 23 yards, just enough to open up the defense and do a few things. But he has come in. He has been a very calming influence over the Tarboro offense. Early in the year, we saw Tarboro a couple times early in the year, and then later in the year we saw him when Speller had become the quarterback. And early in the year, things just weren't quite clicking for him. Dawson Harris, who has some talent, don't get me wrong, he's a sophomore, just wasn't really a nice, smooth flow with him under center. He didn't really give you that running option like Speller gives you. And now suddenly Speller's coming in, this offense has become very dangerous.
Well, I think in fairness to Harris, and he did make some poor decisions this year, coming into Tarboro, which is just used to being an absolute dominant force, is a lot to ask of anybody, especially a sophomore quarterback. But also, I think Dawson Harris is a very different quarterback from what they're used to. Like you said, he doesn't give you the same run option that Speller gives you, and that's really what that Tarboro offense has been built on. You look like guys like Aaron Moore. You know, when they were running all cylinders and going to state titles, that's the kind of quarterbacks they had. And it's nothing against Dawson Harris, but that just seems to be sort of what they're going to. So to go into this season as a sophomore, as a very different style quarterback, was a lot to ask for him. And I think the decision for Coach Craddock to go now to Speller has really maybe turned this season around for them.
It has, and that's not the right Harris on for the future. He'll be back next season. He'll be back the next 2 seasons. I believe he's going to be a kid who's going to much like Speller, he's going to take that quarterback job and make it his own. They will do some tweaks. They'll work to his advantages. But I think one thing, coming in as a sophomore, he had never taken a varsity snap.
Pressure.
Now he's got a season of varsity under his belt. Now he's got an entire offseason knowing that this is going to be his offense to run. You know, you get him reps. You know, he is the man going forward. He gets some guys out to throw in the spring. And I think next year he comes in, he's much more comfortable. He's going to be a good quarterback for you. But right now, it is the Malcolm Speller show. Speller has just done a fabulous job, like we said, of just making things run. I mean, it's not like his numbers are insane. He did have a 9-yard touchdown run. But overall, I mean, he was, 3 carries, 36 yards. But when you've got Shamar Pippen, Marquise Clapp, and Deshaun Farmer, I mean, there's not much of a reason that you as the quarterback are going to have to run the football.
The most important
you just have to know who to hand it to.
Yeah, just hand it off, have a clean exchange, and occasionally on a run option, just be smart with the football.
Exactly.
That's all they ask of you in the Tarboro offense.
Come in, get guys into position.
Yeah.
Have them in the right call. If you have a call as a quarterback, make your call. And do what you got to do. And he is a leader. He's one of their best players. He is their senior. Now, the guy who stuck out to me last night, Shamar Pippen, had the stats. He had the Madden runs. You talked about him hitting the R stick a few times. To me, though, Marquise Clapp told the tale of what Tarboro wanted to do last night, which was come out, establish their dominance early, run the football right at Lewisburg, and say, we're going to punch you in the mouth. Can you take it? Marquise Clapp, 8 carries, 98 yards, had a touchdown to open the ball game for Tarboro, and then got their second touchdown as well. His first one from 36 yards out, his second one from 5 yards out, and really at that point, it was the Tarboro Vikings game to lose.
And I think that was actually a really big one. Lewisburg actually started with the ball. Tarboro's the defense was dominating, forced them into good field position, and they got a good, easy touchdown. Game was sort of going like we thought it was. Then all of a sudden, Lewisburg drives down the field, scores, doesn't tie the game because they missed the run. So it's 8-6, but all of a sudden, we were at the Wallace Rose Hill game last year, and that was kind of how that game started. Oh goodness, what's Tarboro going to do? And then they answer just like that with a Marquise Clapp, another touchdown run. And that's when we started thinking, okay, well, if the Tarboro defense can just start getting a few more stops, this game is going to be Tarboro. And that's a big reason because of Clapp.
And that's right, folks. We clap for him. Yep. Just going to stop there before I say anything else.
Yes. Good on you.
Marquise, we caught up with him after the game. You'll notice, folks, it was a little chilly last night. So
he went full noob sideline on.
I'm just going to say right now, if Marquise walked into the studio, I'd just say, hey, sir, can we help you? No, he was. But he did join us after the ball game. And he was this week's Telco Credit Union Player of the Game.
Certainly.
And right now we're going to head back out to where a very cold and confused Wes Bradshaw thought this was an internet exclusive.
It was not an internet exclusive.
It's going to be on the internet.
You gathered that it wasn't by the end.
Yeah.
Because I was like shaking my head from behind the camera. No.
I thought you were shaking from the cold, but okay.
No, it would have been like this.
Well, you were a little shaky. You had your moments last night.
I did.
But folks, let's head on back out to Viking Stadium and have a chat with our Telco Credit Union Player of the Game, Marquise Clapp.
From the Charlotte High School Marching Vikings Band.
And folks, welcome you to the field here at Tarboro High School for our internet exclusive Telco Credit Union Player of the Game. Tonight, the man who led the power running game for the Tarboro Vikings, Marquise Clapp, is joining us. Marquise, are you a bit chilly?
Yeah, it's really cold out here.
Well, luckily you guys set the field on fire, so that's a good thing. Coming in, Lewisburg, good football team. What was your game plan going into the ball game tonight?
Just stop their play called the Sally and their sweeps to the outside, and just basically read our keys, and play football like we've been doing.
Marquise, early on you scored the first touchdown of the ball game. You kind of got this whole train running. Did you know early on you had a big night in you?
Nah, I didn't at first, but once I scored that first touchdown, I knew I had a big night coming ahead of me.
And Marquise, now you guys next week, for what you've done, you get a trip down to James Keenan for the third round of the playoffs. Hey, man, when you get the third round, you're supposed to play good teams. How you guys feeling going into the third round?
I feel like that we're ready to take on them, and we're going to beat them. And
Can't say it any better, can you, man? Folks, Marquise Clapp, we're going to call him Spider-Man tonight with the mask up here. Great ball game, pair of touchdowns, helped pace this Tarboro attack tonight. They run up, around, and over the Lewisburg Warriors. Marquise, thank you so much. Our Telco Credit Union player of the game. This has been Internet Exclusive All New Sports Show. It's not Internet Exclusive. Okay, back to the studio. Yeah, I really picked it up at the end there, didn't I? Literally after I said you were doing no. It's like, oh,
It's not.
It's not Internet Exclusive.
But you got it, and you threw it back to us here at the studio, like a true professional.
There's no other way we could have gotten it back if I hadn't thrown it back. So
No, it would still just be out there.
absolutely. All right, so Marquise Clapp, your Telco Credit Union player of the game. On the other side of the football, Ed, the Tarboro defense. Early on, kind of had some problems. Looked like, oh man, is this going to turn into a shootout?
Yeah.
But then they really put the clamps down on a very talented running back from Lewisburg. Young man Jeru DeBose is a freshman. Freshman running back. He had a pretty good game last night running the football. Final numbers for DeBose, 11 carries for 92 yards. He had a touchdown. He's going to be very good. Like we said, this was a Lewisburg team that was without their starting quarterback, dismissed from the team this week.
Not bad. But you talk about the Tarboro defense. There's a stretch in the third quarter, and I don't have when the third score came, but they scored at the 10:05 mark in the third quarter. They scored again at the 4:56 mark in the third quarter, and there was 2 more scores in between. And that's because of all the takeaways the Tarboro defense got all of a sudden. Just a really big job in the third quarter. I don't know if Jeff Craddock gave him the hairdryer treatment to the defense at the half, told them to really start getting in gear, gave up 12 points in the first quarter, and then, all the turnovers in the third quarter, and then even in the fourth quarter it was an interception. It was a really poor pass, and frankly, if it hadn't been intercepted, that might have been reason to take some people off the field.
I remember that throw. There were these English guys up in the stands last night.
Really annoying.
Screaming obscenities. Apparently, it was British, but,
Terrible. Weird. But, as soon as I think it's both, we saw it going up in the air. We were like, that's getting picked. And it did, and it got returned for a touchdown by Daniel Lewis. Just an overall great effort in the second half. And that's what you want to see. It's a little worrisome that they couldn't get it going for an entire game. You want to be able to see that, especially going to James Keenan next week. If they play that first half that they did against Lewisburg, against James Keenan,
they're in some trouble.
Absolutely. Not that they can't get out of it, but if that defense that was in the second half can come out there and play the entire game, I give them a chance to beat James Keenan.
Well, Ed, you know what it was?
What was that?
I don't believe there was a hairdryer from Jeff Craddock. I don't believe there needed to be one at halftime. I just believe that Daniel Lewis stood up in front of his teammates and said, "There will be blood."
I've abandoned my boy.
I've abandoned my boy.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Seriously, though.
In all seriousness, because this is the season of serious here on the All New Sports Show. After the ball game, folks, there are certain things we look forward to in life. Coming home from a long day's work, sitting down in your favorite chair, kicking your feet up, watching your favorite television program, obviously the All New Sports Show. Other things that we look forward to in life is, maybe going home to mom's house and getting that great home-cooked dinner, that you always look forward to. Other things in life that we look forward to, Ed, and that's talking to Jeff Craddock, especially in playoff time. Especially when Jeff Craddock's beard has made an appearance. Folks, last night, we got that opportunity.
So nice.
We got to talk to Jeff Craddock in the postgame. His beard made an extra special appearance for us, and that will be this week's Coach's Corner. Let's send it back out to Viking Stadium for Jeff Craddock. Folks, welcome back to the field here at Tarboro High School. A balmy November night for high school football. Second round victorious Tarboro Vikings. God, I forgot the score, 63-15. Hey, Coach, whatever, man. Got a big one tonight. Coach, going into halftime, close ball game. And then you guys come out. Second half, you get some good bounces early, and you guys take advantage, and you cruise on home to a big second round win tonight.
Right. The first half, we got frustrated a little bit defensively. 21 can fly. He's a freshman, and we knew their offense was really good. They've been busting big plays on teams left and right. We never saw their punt team. They've been averaging 42 points a game, and you know, we let 21 get out of there, and other than that, up to the last drive, we had played well offensively. We moved the ball all 3 times, nice drives, and scored on all of them. The big play was right before the half. We sent a blitz, and we didn't cover the flats, and we had a broken assignment on 3rd and long, and they found it, and that was the touchdown pass. So it was a little bit more at halftime, you know, of just kind of trying to get these guys to settle down. You know, you can't get upset. You know, we just got those things happen. They put the ball on the ground 4 or 5 times in the first half. We didn't get any of them. Well, in the second half, you saw we got a lot of them, and it made a difference in the game.
Coach, the last time we had the chance to see you here on the All New Sports Show was after the Southern Nash game. Coincidentally, that was your last loss of the season. Since then, you guys have really turned it on through conference play, and here 2 games in the playoffs. I kind of asked you off camera. I'll ask you now. Do you feel you guys are kind of peaking right now, which this is the time to peak?
Well, we are. You know, we've been down this road many times, and we know what it takes. And you know, after the Southern Nash game, I thought we played harder in the Southern Nash game, and I thought we started to come together, but of course we had the turnovers and they blitzed us very quickly, and they're pretty good too. So, but we didn't pout about it. Obviously, we got refocused and we made some little changes here or there with the personnel wise. And here lately, you know, the boys have just gotten back to believing that they're a really good team and they can beat anybody, and that's the mindset we want. I mean, you've heard me say it a lot. We don't have to be great in August. We don't have to be great in September. But come November and December, you got to start being a great football team, and we're going to find out. I mean, I think we're a pretty good one right now. We're doing a lot of things well, and I know we're playing the defending state 1A, AA state champion next Friday. So we'll go down there and see how good we really are this year.
Coach, tonight our player of the game, we had chosen Marquise Clapp. Marquise was he was kind of the key to your power game tonight. You know, people see Tarboro. Pippen had a great game, getting outside, making some big runs. But, you know, I think what really set y'all apart tonight was Marquise Clapp putting his head down and just running over people. When he brings that physical element to the game, does that just give your offense a little more balance?
Yeah, it does. I mean, Clapp is a big physical kid, you know, and he's had a great senior season. Very proud of what he's been able to do. So with him being able to do that, and then, you know, now those linebackers got to focus on him, and now all of a sudden you see our halfbacks scooting around the edges. So it's a great compliment, obviously, to our 3-back system.
And, Coach, you know, it seems like we ask you the same question every year, but this is one you don't get tired of answering, I don't think. Thanksgiving morning practice.
Well, they always say if you practice at Thanksgiving, you've had a great year, and I've been blessed to do it now 8 years in a row. You see my buddy Tacoby over there, and he's nice looking. So we're blessed to be able to do it. And, you know, last year, that's the first thing I reminded some guys that were part of last year's team that, you know, we got bounced in the 3rd round, and it's been a sick feeling that we've had to carry around for a while. And so hopefully this year, you know, we do have a chance to go down and redeem ourselves a little bit, but we also know it's going to take a great effort. It's going to take the best game of the year, but that's what you got to do this time of the year.
I believe looking at the 1AA East, everybody has 1 loss. You guys are coming in with 3, so I guess Tarboro's the underdog. That's great. We love that, right? We love the underdog.
I do love it. You know, we haven't been talked about, and rightfully so. We haven't deserved to be talked about. And so, but I think just underneath the scenes, we've been a team that's been getting better and better and better, and kids are believing. And except my coaching staff, they never let these kids quit. They just keep on them and keep putting them in the right positions to make plays. So there's been a lot of talk about James Keenan and Princeton and Wallace Rose Hill. Those are the big 3, and they deserve it. And you know, we're at the party now, the Final Four, and as an underdog. So we're going to go down there and play our best game and see what happens.
He's Coach Jeff Craddock. So the reason I doffed my coat when Jeff Craddock came around, it heated up right here, folks. I felt his intensity from the ball game. It heated me up. I didn't need a jacket anymore. I'm putting it on 2 seconds after that camera goes off. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good luck next week against James Keenan. Folks, let's send it back to the nice, warm WHIG TV studios for more of the All New Sports Show. I would say it's warm, but they forgot to pay the electric bill, so it's cold.
Actually, no, it's really toasty. It's quite toasty.
Maybe I'm dying. We'll see. Big thanks to Jeff Craddock, and of course Jeff Craddock's beard, for this week's Coach's Corner interview. All right, so wrap it up. Tarboro, final score, 63, Lewisburg 15. Tarboro on to the 3rd round of the state playoffs.
This is their birthright.
This is the birthright of all from Tarboro. All right, folks, we are going to move on now. We are joined now on the line from the Wilson Times sports reporter Jimmy Lewis. And, folks, Jimmy saw a heck of a ball game last night. and in his county a shocking, well, maybe not so shocking actually, but maybe a surprisingly lopsided loss on the other side of the county. We're going to break those two down. Jimmy, welcome back to the All New Sports Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not too much. We're unthawing from last night being out at Tarboro.
Oh, man.
We didn't get to be in the nice warm press box.
No, we did not. No, we did not. I feel like what was it
The Shining?
caveman, the caveman,
Unfrozen caveman?
unfrozen caveman.
I'm just a caveman.
I'm just
Your
a
ways
caveman.
are foreign to me. Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
Unfrozen caveman. Jimmy, let's start where you were last night. You were in Stanhope for a whale of a football game. Southern Nash hosting Eastern Wayne, an Eastern Wayne team that had put 60 on the board against J.H. Rose earlier this season. At the end of the day, it looks like the turnovers undid Southern Nash. They fumble away their opportunities against Eastern Wayne, and Eastern Wayne comes out. Southern Nash goes home for the season. Final score 24-17. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about that ball game last night?
Yeah, Wes, the beginning and end of this game was basically the turnovers. I mean, Southern Nash has 6 turnovers. They trail 14-0 at halftime. Second straight week, they go down by 2 scores at the half, but this time they really aren't able to overcome it. 6 turnovers is bad enough in its own right, but some of the turnovers that Southern Nash committed last night were kind of tough to take. Eastern Wayne throws an interception up 7-0 to Taj Deans around the 3-yard line. He's trying to get back upfield and do something with the ball, and then Eastern Wayne knocks it out. They recover on a Southern Nash 1. Next play, Eastern Wayne goes in to score, and then they go up 14-0. Southern Nash's defense did not play terribly at all in this game. They gave up that one big 68-yard pass play. They had the guy stopped for anywhere from a no gain to a loss of 2 yards, and they hit the quick hitter out there on the edge, and the guy takes it 68 yards for the score. Southern Nash gets to within a 1 possession late, but they can't get anything going on offense. Then Eastern Wayne takes over with about 5.5 left, and they just bleed out the remaining clock. They had about a 4th and 10 or something like that, and Eastern Wayne hits a pass into coverage. Southern Nash had it covered decently well, but Eastern Wayne's able to pull it in, move the chains, and then they're able to bleed out the remaining clock. So 7-point loss, 6 turnovers, just another tough loss to this Eastern Wayne team for Southern Nash.
And, Jimmy, one of those things that they just weren't able to really get going on the night is the passing game. Only 43 yards on the night for Zach Foster, just 1 of 7 with an interception on the night. Coach Brian Foster, we've talked to him earlier this year, and he said, we're not really throwing the ball that much more. It's just we're being able to hit it. How was Eastern Wayne able to take away that much of the passing game, though, especially with a great receiver like Taj Deans out there?
Well, the thing is, Zach Foster had ended the regular season as the most efficient passer in our coverage area. But on this night, the accuracy just was not there. He was 1 for 7 for 43 yards, but he made his only touchdown count with a 43-yard touchdown pass to Jaquay Mitchell, who was able to get behind the Southern Nash secondary and take it in for a score in the third quarter to pull within 1 score there in the third. But Eastern Wayne came right back with that 68-yard pass play. I don't know if it was anything that Eastern Wayne did to take it away. Southern Nash just really could not hit the big play. They had a big opportunity on that drive that ended with an 84-yard fumble return for a touchdown. I mean, it was there for him. Grant Jones sneaks out down the middle of the field. He's wide open. If he makes the catch, he walks in. Foster puts it there, but the pass just isn't hauled in the playoffs, especially second round onward when the teams get better and better. Those are just the plays you have to make. And Brian Foster basically said at the end of this game, they just didn't make enough plays.
Second consecutive year that Eastern Wayne eliminates Southern Nash from the playoffs. Jimmy, just in your opinion from what you saw this year, was this a Southern Nash team that just maybe felt a year away from really peaking? I mean, personally, I thought they were a little bit ahead of schedule this season. I thought they'd slip back a little bit in the Big East, and next year would be their big shot to make a run.
And they just win the Big East.
Yeah, and then they go out, they win the Big East. Do you think next year could potentially, they could take the lessons learned from this year and really go to a big 2015 season?
They really could, but at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down to protecting the football and avoiding the penalties, something that Southern Nash really hasn't been able to do historically. They really can't be overlooked in sharing the Big East Conference Championship with Fike this year. But it's just when they have bad games, they are big, bad games. There's no in-between with them sometimes. I really look forward to them in 2015, as you said, with Taj Dean, the senior, Zach Foster, a senior. Maybe they can continue to work some wrinkles into their passing game to supplement the double wing. When the double wing is clicking at Southern Nash, it is a beautiful thing to watch. I know coaches hate the game plan against it. You think back to the East-West All-Star game, those coaches, they despised game planning against Foster's East team. But at any rate, they really need to supplement the running game with the passing game. And if they can continue to develop that, if the Foster and Deans can get better vertically in the off season, it really could be a special 2015 for them where they could be playing after Thanksgiving Day. But here again, they're just one bad game away, like the 6-turnover game against Eastern Wayne, from going out of the playoffs.
Jimmy, now let's head back into Wilson County, into your home territory.
Speaking of being out of the playoffs.
A team that maybe wasn't thinking next year's our year, even though it could be a really good year next year as well. A team that I think really felt this year was their year. The Golden Demons of Wilson Fike. They come in as the number 2 seed in the 3AA playoffs. And that old familiar foe for, I guess it's not just Hunt's problem anymore, it's all of Wilson County's problem, and that is the Nighthawks of Northern Guilford. Northern Guilford comes down, and they turn what is a close game about midway through the second quarter into a
Fike was winning. Fike was winning in the second quarter, 21-20.
Well.
And then they weren't.
As Charlie Sheen would tell you, there's a difference in were winning and winning. I don't know if he'd tell you the truth there.
That's relevant,
yeah, totally. Winning! You see what I did there, folks?
It's 2012, everybody.
Cool. What? Yeah, totally. Tiger blood.
Anyway.
Whatever. But the winning ends up in the Northern Guilford locker room. Jimmy, what happened? What happened where it all just went so bad for Fike so fast?
Well, the one big thing in this game that really hurt Fike was when A.J. Hines went down with an injury that took him out of the game. At that point, a good defensive team and a well-coached team like Northern Guilford doesn't have to rely on that threat that can just bludgeon you up the middle. If A.J. was out of the game against any other team, it might not have been as bad, but with a team like Northern Guilford, who's now 10-0 on the road in the playoffs under head coach Johnny Roscoe, that's an outstanding assistant. Fike has really made a living on being a triple threat with quarterback Jay Daniels, the other running back Anthony Evans, and then the bruising running back in A.J. Hines. When they're all clicking, they are tough for anybody to stop. But you take away one of those threats in Hines, and it becomes a heck of a lot easier for an athletic defense like Northern Guilford to game plan. They were really there stride for stride with them until Hines went down, and on the offensive side, that really took a lot of the spark out of their offense.
And Jimmy, I think that's exactly what it was. Because you look at some of the peripheral numbers, Fike's just 6 penalties for 45 yards. Northern Guilford, 13 penalties for 95. Guilford has 3 turnovers to Fike's 4, so not a huge difference there. But then you look at just your basic stats. Northern Guilford rushes for 342 yards and throws for 278. Fike rushes for 108 and passes for 183. So combined, they barely ran and passed for more than Northern Guilford passed for, and then there's all the rushing yards added. So was Northern Guilford just that much better than Fike too? Or what did it really just come down to the injury?
Well, Fike was going to have a tough time stopping Northern Guilford offensively, Hines or no Hines, because after the injury, Hines did go back in there on a defense, but he was just not used on offense anymore for the rest of the game. It was going to be Fike's best way to win this game was going to be a shootout either way with Hines in the lineup. But behind that quarterback of theirs who was just tough to bring down all night, like you said, 342 rushing and 278 passing, and very efficient when they did go to the air with 9 of 13 passing to compile those 278 yards. Fike's best interest to win this game was going to be a massive score for score, as they did early when they went up 21-20, and then cash in on one of those 3 fumbles that were lost by Northern Guilford. Northern Guilford 3 fumbles, 3 lost. Maybe if Hines would have stayed in the ball game, doubt would have crept in on the faces of the Northern Guilford players, and Fike could turn some of those miscues into points and maybe win something like, I don't know, 54, 47, 45, 38, something like that. But Hines or no Hines, it was going to be a struggle to stop them, and the stats bear that out.
And Jimmy, just to point out one young man who really a special player now in the history of Wilson County. Guys, I'm sure going to be well represented on the Wilson Times postseason listings that you guys will have coming out, and that's Anthony Evans, a young man who, you know, as a freshman, they weren't good. As a sophomore, they weren't good. And, man, here's a senior. He leaves, you know, has a share of the Big East Championship, has put his name into the record books at Fike High School. Just give us a quick, you know, rundown of Anthony Evans.
Well, Anthony Evans, without question, you can pretty much make an argument that he was one of the main heartbeats of Fike's resurgence. As you said, his freshman year and sophomore year, Fike wasn't that good, and then as an upperclassman, he starts to be behind that resurgence a little bit. I mean, what a threat he became under Coach Nelson, and he added weapons around him in DJ Daniels, A.J. Hines, and that offensive line. I mean, he could slash it up inside. He could beat you on the edge. But what really made him even more dangerous in the latter part of his career was his ability to really get out in space on screens and get down there and make plays in the secondary. I mean, that catch against Hunt last year that he made in that double overtime game. I mean, that was just one heck of a catch, and that really just defines the type of player that he was. And it's gonna be a tough loss for Fike next year without him, but they're still gonna have some pieces coming back. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the quarterback in Daniels, who by that time may or may have not made a college decision, but it'll just be interesting to see what happens going forward. But Anthony Evans will definitely go down in Fike annals as one of the players who really helped turn a proud program around.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Jimmy, man, thanks so much for hopping on with us this week. God, man, I guess the next time we're talking, we're going to talk about basketball.
Don't say it like that. Basketball's great. Unless you're Fike, apparently. Fike didn't start very well in basketball either, but we'll save that for another time.
Neither football players. They're neither football players, that's it.
Yes.
All right, Jimmy, thanks so much for joining us, man. We will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, later.
Thanks,
Later,
Jimmy.
Jimmy Lewis.
Fike cuts the rod of the their opener.
Well, it happens. Who they lose to?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I saw the score.
Must have been really good. All right, folks. We're going to take a commercial break.
Yeah.
When we come back, your most exciting minute of the week.
So,
we're not talking about real soccer this week. Who wants to do that?
I am.
And, folks, then we were going to have Josh Wallfish of the Rocky Mountain Telegram to break down Rocky Mountain's trip to Southern Guilford, talk a little bit more Edgecombe County football. We're going to keep you up to date on the playoffs. Lots more to come, folks. We'll be right back with more of the All New Sports Show brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates here on WHIG TV.
Good day, Eastern Carolina. It's Mike Keffer at Mike Keffer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on the 301 bypass between Rocky Mount and Wilson. I'm a truck driving man. The Great American Drive event is happening on all new Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram trucks. It's hunting season. No better time to trade up to a new Ram, whether you prefer gas-sipping 6-cylinder, Hemi, Eco Diesel, or heavy-duty Rocky Mount built Cummins diesel. Ram truck is the new dog on the hunt. Hunt one up in Rocky Mount at 855 by Keffer or online at mikekeffer.com.
Welcome back to the All New Sports Show, brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates. Folks, it's now time for your most exciting minute of the week. It's time for 60 seconds of
Soccer!
The team who came back from the dead.
Love Green Greens. You know Smash came out this week
awesome.
on Wii U. So great. You don't even know.
Don't even know what you're talking
So
about.
good.
So
I'll
that's
show you
all.
later.
Can't wait. Andrew, there's
Yeah.
60 seconds on the clock.
Yep.
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, big week in the Barclays Premier League after we came back from our international break. Of course, since we were recording this show on Saturday, we do not know how either West, Liverpool, or Tottenham did this Sunday, but we do know that Man United gets their first road win of the year under Louis van Gaal and a 2-1 win at the Emirates against Arsenal. Big win for them. Also, Lionel Messi, all-time leading Spanish scorer in Spain.
Folks, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to tell you about the YouTube video that is sweeping the world.
He's not a sweeper kicker.
He's not a sweeper, no, not at all, folks. And that is the shootout between Yale and North Carolina, where Yale keeper Scott Sterling
Why is it Yale?
blocks all 5 shots with his face. Folks, Google it. YouTube it. You're going to want to see it. It is exciting. It will make you a fan of the world's game. It already did it to Clint Williams.
Yeah.
Scott Sterling!
Oh. Great.
All right, folks, and now at this time, so you don't have to hear me talk about Scott Sterling
Especially not like that.
anymore. Sorry.
Sounds like those two guys from last night.
God, they were pains in the butt, but they made some really good points. Bully. Folks, joining us from the Rocky Mount Telegram, Josh Wallfish. Folks, Josh made his way also out to Southern Nash last night. But man, we've already talked about that enough.
Yes.
Let's talk about Edgecombe County and let's talk about Rocky Mount. Josh, welcome back to the All New Sports Show.
Thanks for having me back today, guys.
All right, Josh, we got 3 big games to talk about. Unfortunately, only one of those was a win, but that was a big win for Southwest Edgecombe. They go to
Northside
Jacksonville and pick up a big win as the 6th seed. They will be advancing to the 3rd round. Tell us how it happened.
Well, it really started on the first 3 drives of the game. Southwest got the ball first. They faced 3rd and 11 from their own 35. Devon Shaw Hyman, as he's done so many times this season, takes the team on his back, breaks 2 tackles at the line of scrimmage, busts 65 yards down the sideline for a touchdown. 2 plays later, the Cougars force a fumble. That leads to another Hyman touchdown. Hyman finishes the day 225 yards on 19 carries on the ground and 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Southwest jumped on Northside early, and if it wasn't for 3 fumbles in the first half, that game probably would have been over by halftime.
Southwest Edgecombe, they are playing a style of football, Josh, at this time of the year that traditionally this is what wins you playoff football games, a bruising, power-running game, and they play good defense. Is Southwest, is this the best that they've been maybe in the 2 years under Jonathan Cobb?
It really has been, and I talked with Coach Cobb last night, and one of the things he was talking about is just the change in culture that this coaching staff has brought. The team is buying into the philosophy a lot more this season than they kind of have in years past. That's made a tremendous difference for them. And at the end of the day, also, they're making big plays at the right time, and anytime you can make big plays when you need to, you're going to go far in the playoffs.
And speaking of a team, Josh, that also made a lot of plays, but just couldn't make enough. That's North Edgecombe as they lose at Southside in a shootout track meet, 56-40. That game was close throughout, but how did it end up for the Warriors going on the road to Southside and still putting up an amazing fight?
Well, it's going to be a difficult pill for them to swallow, considering Antoine Pittman had more than 300 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. And normally that's a good thing for the Warriors, and that's going to mean that they win the football game. But what's been their Achilles heel all year was what was their Achilles heel last night, and that was just the defense
not being in the right place at the right time, overloading certain gaps, missing some gaps, and that led to huge running plays for the Seahawks, and that really was the difference in the game. North Edgecombe couldn't get a stop when they needed to, and Southside was able to get just one stop, but it's all they really needed to do to secure the victory.
Taking a trip out to Guilford County, the middle of the state, basically.
It's a long trip.
It's a long trip from Rocky Mount, definitely. The Griffons hit the road again for the second week in a row. Basically took the same route that they did to get to Western Alamance. This time they go a little farther. They end up at Southern Guilford, and they run into NC State commitment Reggie Gillespie, a gentleman who may be on his way to 3,000 yards. On his way. He is there. He's over 3,000 yards rushing on the season. The Griffons go to the top seed in the 3A Eastern playoffs, and they lose 36-18 to Southern Guilford. You know, Josh, for the Griffons, it was going to be a tough task to have to turn around and go back, take another long bus trip and get another win. And then you throw in the fact you might be playing the best running back in the state.
Yeah, and this is something Andrew and I were talking about both on camera and off camera this week. Was how Rocky Mount's defense, which has been very good against the run for a majority of this season, how are they going to do against a Division I prospect like Gillespie, as you said, is arguably the best running back in the state? And they showed flashes where they stopped them. They held them to 32 yards total in the third quarter, but when it mattered the most at the beginning and at the end of the game, they couldn't stop Gillespie. And with the way that offense has been playing, it was going to be a tough task as is, and the defense didn't make enough plays to pull another upset victory.
Gillespie on the night running for 314 yards. I would tell you, it's kind of a weird thing. If someone runs for 300 yards on Rocky Mount, it's usually someone whose name you hear at the next level. I almost want to say, I don't think it was, but the last big one who did it was Andre Brown.
He's pretty good.
Still plays for the New York Giants and went to NC State. So Gillespie in pretty good company with that one. You know, Josh, end of the season for the Griffons. What is your view? An 8-5 year for Rocky Mount? I'm going to tell you, to me, I'm a little disappointed at 8-5 for the Griffons this year. I thought that was a little better of a football team than they ended up being record-wise.
That's basically the record they've had the last 2 years under Jason Battle.
That's right, and a team that seemed to really give away a couple of football games this year.
Yeah, you go back. The game against Fike was a difficult one for them to swallow. I think the way they lost that football game. The fact that they imploded a bit in the second half against Southwest Edgecombe in the non-conference portion schedule, and obviously a tough loss to Southern Nash as well in the Big East schedule. So those are three games that Rocky Mount had a good chance of winning and couldn't pull off. But by the same token, they won last week. And I think that's a tremendous step forward for this program to get over that hump of winning a playoff game. And I think that's the sort of confidence that they can take going into next season and future seasons, that monkey is off their back and they can win in the playoffs. And I think if they can kind of be a little bit more consistent offense next year, bring back that same tenacity on the defensive side of the football, I think they could be a team to watch in the Big East next year.
All right. Well, Josh, thanks for that. You mentioned a little earlier, you discussed on video stuff this week with your cohort, Andrew Ivins. Why don't you guys put yourselves over and let the people at home know where they can see these things? And also, why haven't we gotten our invite to be part of this yet?
Seriously.
I will talk to Andrew about getting you and Wes
Yay.
an invite. But,
Thank you.
But you can find all our stuff at RockyMountTelegram.com/sports. Andrew and I have been for the past 4 weeks doing a quote-unquote expert analysis of the situation in the Twin Counties. And we do a little video alongside that. And you can find that at RockyMountTelegram.com/sports.
It's good stuff. I saw your guys, I think the first one you guys did when you had about 64 different playoff permutations you guys were going through. It was fantastic. Brilliant stuff from Florida and Northwestern.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks. Josh Wallfish, Rocky Mountain Telegram. Josh, man, just about basketball season. We'll be talking to you again soon.
All righty.
Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks, Josh.
All right. Big thank you, Josh Wallfish, joining us. All right, folks, just to kind of wrap up this week in round 2 of the playoffs. Once again, your winners, Tarboro, Southwest Edgecombe.
And that's it.
The function at the junction, those guys are getting going. Yeah. Everybody else is done. So, Ed, we came in this week with 6 teams left.
4 died.
We exit with only 2. So, Ed, it's now the time of the show where we say goodnight. We say goodbye, and we say good speed to those 4 teams who will not be joining us for the 3rd round of the playoffs. Ed?
They will be joining us in Elysium.
Southern Nash. North Edgecombe. Wilson Fike. And the capstone, Rocky Mount. We salute you. Gentlemen, great seasons. All 4 of those teams, great seasons. Getting to the 2nd round of the playoffs, actually, it is an accomplishment in itself because it meant you were able to find a way to win a playoff game.
Well, only about half our area teams did anyway. So
that's right. That's right. So for those 4 going out this week, we like to have our fun here on the All New Sports Show. But truly for those guys, great seasons. And I really think, especially you're talking about Rocky Mount, Southern, and Fike. I really think all 3 of those could take another step forward next year.
Certainly.
So that's scary for everyone else to think of. Okay, so we'll finish that up. Ed, now for the most depressing part of the week. For you. For me, it is time to update the Crystal Clear Pepsi 6-pack. We had 6 teams left. We had 6 games. We had a 6-pack. So that's what we went with this week, folks. Those were the 6 that we put on the board. And let's take a look at how they ended.
Oh, it's going to be good. Not for you, but for other people. But we'll start with you. We'll start with you.
Leader going into the week.
You were leader in the clubhouse, and unfortunately, you did not make it onward. But you did unfortunately go 3-3 this week. Losses: Fike, Rocky Mount, North Edgecombe.
I believe too much.
You did. You believed in the capstone. You did get Eastern Wayne, Southwest, and Tarboro right though, putting you at 53-19. As we move on to Tony Doughty. Oh, great week for him. Undefeated. And I actually got to update the standings here. He deserves another badge. Northern Guilford, all Southern Guilford, Eastern, Southwest, Tarboro, and Southside. As we go to myself, I had the 2nd best week at 4-2. I only missed Fike and Southern. Man, I really should have taken Northern Guilford. I know a Wilson team can't beat them. And then as we go to Clint Williams, taking his rightful place in the basement. Fike, Southern Nash, Northside, and North Edgecombe, all losses. He does get Tarboro, and he did get Southern Guilford, so he didn't go against the capstone there. 51-21 as we go to our final game.
If you're going to that bad, you might as well just go ahead and pick your alma mater.
Might as well. Tony Doughty now leads by 2 games over myself and you, and like I said, I got to get Tony another badge up there.
A badge.
He has unearned his 3rd badge of the year, which is big. Clint Williams now at the bottom though at 51-21. And that is your Crystal Clear Pepsi 6.
What are we going to do next week? And down to 2 teams in the area. We said we were going to do this until we had no teams left. So there will be at least 1 more week of the Crystal Clear Pepsi 6-pack.
Could be the last week.
We're going to have to go to some college games.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go to the Hunger Games, known as the SEC West, because no one in God's name knows what's going to happen there other than awesomeness and intrigue.
Certainly.
So we're going to get those in early in the week, so we've got everything covered day after Thanksgiving. That's Saturday, everything. We're going to have them all.
I think some of those Hunger Games are taking place on Friday this week.
That's right. That's right. Some of those SEC games are going to go Friday night. So we will see what's going on. All right, folks, your preview for next week in the area is pretty easy. There's 2 games. Southwest Edgecombe traveling to undefeated Northeastern. Folks, Northeastern, they're pretty daggone good. They've beaten 2 Big East teams this year, went to Wilson Hunt, and shut out the Warriors at home 28-0. They also have a win over Northern Nash this season. That's a good football team, folks. They're athletic. They spread the ball out. They throw it around. They run it out of the spread. It is going to be a big-time test for Southwest Edgecombe. We'll have to see what's going to win. Is it going to be old school pound you in the face football,
so.
or is it going to be the air raid, the openness of Northeastern out of Elizabeth City?
If the Cougars win, they will either be going to Roanoke Rapids or Washington, the #1 seed in the East. Both those teams have beaten Tarboro this year.
Roanoke Rapids, by the way, just something to add real quick. I found this out from my good buddy Gaddis Hodges. Roanoke Rapids playing their first Friday after Thanksgiving since 1945.
It's pretty good. It's been a while.
So that's a group that they've figured it out in Roanoke Rapids. They are going to have a very stern test on their hands with Washington, who won Southwest Edgecombe's conference in the Eastern Plains. Of course, that's a really good football team.
You know what? Southwest played Washington really well.
Man. And think about it. Since then, Southwest is playing, as we said, the best football they played under Jonathan Cobb. Devontrell Hyman has turned into the second coming of Andre Brown. Basically, he cannot be stopped lately. I would love to see Southwest get another crack at Washington. That might be what I'd be willing to travel for.
I think I would too.
Not far from the house.
No.
Comparatively speaking.
The other one is in 1AA. Tarboro will be going to James Keenan.
That's right.
And if they do advance, which I hope they do, they will be taking on either Wallace Rose Hill, who knocked them out last year. They are now the #1 overall seed in the East, or Princeton, who has one of the best running backs in our area.
Johnny Frazier committed to Florida State.
Pretty good school.
Which means, I mean, this is crazy. He's committed to Florida State, hasn't stolen or assaulted anyone. That's awesome.
There's still time.
Well, obviously there's still time, and I think it comes with like the freshman packet down there for football players.
It's part of the orientation.
Exactly, it is. It's like, you've got to do what you've got to do here.
Here's the place you need to call.
Here's some crab legs over here for you to go get. You see that building? You see that building? You can run into it in your vehicle. No problems. Just
see those windows? You can totally shoot them out with me.
You will be fine. I'm not bitter at all, by the way.
Anyway.
I'm not a bitter Miami Hurricane fan by any means.
No, not at all.
All right, so that's pretty much what's going on around the area. And I want to say, excuse me on this, I do want to say that I believe James Keenan's the defending state champions.
Yes.
Be wrong on that, but I believe they are.
Right.
So that is going to be a war for Tarboro. That 1AA bracket in the East is about as good as it gets. When Tarboro is pretty much the #4 team out of 4, you've got 1 loss Rose Hill, 1 loss James Keenan, 1 loss Princeton. That's big time football, folks. That's big time. So it'll be a lot of fun this week coming up. Ed, let's change course for just a moment. Let's head back into the college ranks.
Yes.
You saw him last week here on the All New Sports Show. You saw his final game as a battling Bishop at Wesleyan College, folks. That was Jay Alston. This week's Bishop's Corner. We're kind of dedicating to Jay Alston because he received a major award this week.
Yes, he was named the league's Offensive Player of the Year. Obviously, Jay Alston is Wesleyan's career rushing leader. He had a great season. He had 3,907 yards in his career. He led the USA South this year with 1,460 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. 10 of those were rushing, 4 were receiving. One of those was on a kickoff return. We saw that kickoff return. He was named the league's first team at running back, making him a 4-time all-conference pick. Just an amazing career. He was also named to first team as a return specialist.
That's right. Young man just had a great season and then a great career, as I believe you said, set the all-time rushing record at Wesleyan. Holds nearly every major offensive category for them out there.
Also, Malik Adams was also named to the first team as a wide receiver. He's going to be really, really good in the next couple of years. Senior linebacker James Wallace was a second-teamer.
Only senior on that defense.
So it's going to be really, really good. Rakeem Cooper and Martin Braswell were all-conference nods on defensive and offensive lines, so good on them as well. And Dustin Midget was named the league's all-sportsmanship team.
Great job for Dustin.
There.
Dustin, who, of course, really came on after replacing Robbie Lanier about mid-season. Good, solid quarterback. Last game probably was not his best. But a good, solid.
I remember when I won a sportsmanship award as a 12-year-old in Little League. I asked my dad, "Is that like the runner-up for, or is that like the MVP on the worst team award?" Because it's kind of what it felt like.
I never won the sportsmanship award. My mom says it's because I never know when to shut up.
It's true. I agree.
It's continued to this day.
Yes.
What have we talked about Oz lately?
Let's not talk about Oz.
No more Oz talk. Fine.
Unless
Sons of
Wizard.
Anarchy?
No.
Brickleberry?
That's for the podcast, which you can listen to on iTunes Music Store, Stitcher Radio, or Podbean.com. You can find us there at The All New Sports Show, the podcast.
Speaking of colons. All right.
Yeah, so that's Bishop's Corner for the week. Where are we going next? We're going to Todd Gurley?
We are, but just one thing I wanted to point out real quick, talking about that one AA East playoffs, just because my tablet finally pulled it up. Princeton has one loss this year, 26-23 to James Keenan. James Keenan has one loss this year. It was 45-33 to Wallace Rose Hill. Wallace Rose Hill has one loss this year. It was to Clinton, who's in the 2A third round. So
these are pretty good teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what, though? You can go through Tarborough's losses, too, though.
They kind of Hunger Games each other.
Tarborough's lost to Washington.
Still in the playoffs.
Roanoke Rapids.
Still in the playoffs.
Southern Nash. Just got bounced.
Was in the playoffs. Conference champion of a 3A conference. So, yeah. These are 4 teams with very, very good resumes.
Yeah.
So anyway, since we just did that.
No, that's fine. We're going to now do our Todd Gurley update. So unfortunately, this might be our last Todd Gurley update in college.
Until the draft.
That's what, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't considering that part of college.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, until the draft, and this might be the last time we do kind of get to. Well, I've just got a feeling he's going to have his name in for some postseason awards.
Yeah. True.
Don't know if he's going to win anything just based on the number of games. Of course, folks, as you know, Todd Gurley returned this past Saturday. Unless you've been living under a rock for some reason and don't care about college football, which I really don't understand.
You cannot care about college football. You should care about the SEC. It's a different thing.
God, it's totally different.
It's like there's college football, there's the SEC, and then there's the NFL.
I may put those in a different order, but of course I'm
not talking about in terms of how much I care.
But I'm a gigantic SEC homer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Alabama could beat anybody. Anybody.
I don't think so.
Except Mississippi. But anyway, and Todd Gurley. Anyway, as you know, Todd Gurley returned this past Saturday night against Auburn. I believe 27 carries, 138 yards, touchdown. Really great, really good game going. And then got caught in the fourth quarter. Torn ACL ends Todd Gurley's season. Most likely, no confirmation on this. Don't think we're insiders. Just going by what I think most people think. Most likely, the final game Todd Gurley will play at the University of Georgia before going on to the NFL draft, where he is still projected to be a low-end first-round draft pick. Not bad work if you can get it.
Nope, and not a bad career for Todd Gurley. No. This year, he's going to finish with 911 rushing yards. That's good for a 7.4 yard per carry average. Did have 9 touchdowns this year. Also added 12 catches for 57 yards. No touchdowns there. But if this is to be his career, his final numbers are 3,285 yards. He had a 6.4 yard per carry average. That means you just give him the ball twice, and you have a first down.
Think about it. Missed multiple games last year due to injury. Missed the 4 games this year due to the NCAA suspension. And then, of course, getting the ACL here. Missed the game today against Charleston Southern. Will miss playing Georgia Tech next week and potentially playing the SEC championship game and the bowl game. So that would have been potentially 4 more games that Todd Gurley played. So potentially missing 8 total games this season. He still ends up less than 100 yards away from 1,000. I mean, legitimately, Todd Gurley could have been on pace for a 2,000-yard season and won the Heisman, which would have sat right there upon his return, which he promised us 3 years ago.
36 touchdowns as well, rushing in for his career. Did have 6 receiving touchdowns and a boatload of kick returns, including one against Auburn, which was called back.
That was crap. Terrible.
Yeah. I heard there was 2 soft calls. There was that one and the fake punt. Yeah.
Fake punt. Oh, that was a beautiful play.
I
think I wrote something very, very filthy on Twitter about that.
I saw that.
Yeah. Soft. Nice way to put it. Folks, this week we have for you a Brian Goodwin update. Haven't had one of those in a while. Goodwin, of course, missed the second half of the season this year playing AAA ball for Syracuse in the Washington Nationals organization due to injury. But this week, big news for Brian Goodwin. He has been named to the Washington Nationals 40-man roster going into 2015. Ed, why don't you tell the folks at home just a little bit about the 40-man roster?
Basically what that means is he can be called up to the 25-man roster for the Major League team anytime he wants. Right now, if as part of the 40-man, if he stays in the minors, he has 3 what they call option years, and they can just send him back down whenever. After those 3 years are done, he has to be placed on waivers to go back down to the minor leagues. If he's on the 40-man, that basically means he's this close to go into DC.
Will be the first ever. The craziest thing out of that means he's this close to being the first ever Rocky Mount Griffon to play Major League Baseball, which shockingly, as good as Rocky Mount baseball has been for the last 50, 60 years, to be the first Rocky Mount high school player potentially to make it to the major leagues. Awesome. That's massive. And folks, by the way, if I've just brushed over somebody from the 1950s or something, all I'm going on is just what I know since then. So I know a lot of guys who've made it into AA, a handful that made it into AAA, but have never just quite got that breakthrough to the show. Brian Goodwin, this close. All right.
Gotta get better. He's got to get better.
Oh, he's got to work. He knows he's got work to do. And that's what makes him good, because he's going to put in his work. Ed, put us over one more time.
Of course. If you want to tell Wes how wrong he was about no Rocky Mount Griffons making it to professional baseball, Major League Baseball, I guess just to say, you can hit us up on Twitter. He is at
Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. As a collective, we are at All News Sports Show. You can get us on the Facebook page. A lot of updates there. Twitter is more for our quick updates. Yeah. It's score updates that we could put out every Friday night, as well as links from our Facebook page.
Producer Des, of course, does a really good job getting those scores out to everybody on Friday
and
night.
as we've seen by all your retweeting and favorites, we thank you guys out there for keep spreading the word. You can get us on Facebook. Facebook.com/allnewsportshow. We usually have more long-form stuff there. We usually try to get posts twice a day throughout the week. That might slow down as we run out of stuff to post, but that'll pick up maybe during basketball season again. We'll try to get something at least once a day from here on out. Of course, you can also get us on Instagram, instagram.com/allnewsportshow. If you want to see any of our videos, including full-length episodes, you can go to youtube.com/theallnewsportshow, because, Wes, you simply must have a vanity YouTube channel name now. You can't just have youtube.com/ZX42893.
No, it's
you have to be vanity.
Especially when you're as vain as we are. Mainly just
I bet you think the song is about you. You can also hit us up on email, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. You can also mail us 1701 Sunset Avenue, Suite 201, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27804. I'm not asking, I'm not begging, but I'm just saying it'd be nice this time of year if maybe we got some gifts.
Live animals accepted.
Nope.
Dang it. Tried to slip it by you. Okay, no live animals.
No. No.
And please, folks, at this time of the year, if you are sending any sort of food item, please make sure if it needs to be refrigerated that it is packed nicely in dry ice. I don't need Ed having a rotting Christmas ham in his office for 3 weeks. Ham will be accepted, though, as will all forms of cakes, cookies.
Pies.
And pies.
All right, that's it.
All right. Ed?
Yeah?
The only thing on my agenda now this weekend, Survivor Series.
You can listen to his thoughts on that this coming up week on the All News Sports Show, the podcast. Again, that's on podbean.com, the iTunes Music Store. You can just search for the All News Sports Show, or you can go to Stitcher Radio and listen to us that way. If you have a podcast player of your choice, I know you like listening on Podcast Republic. There's an RSS feed of the podcast on our Facebook page. You can download it there.
All right, Ed, that is going to bring this edition of the All News Sports Show to an end.
Absolutely.
Folks, we are quickly running out of time on the 20.
There's literally no time.
There's no time. There's no going back in time.
Nope.
We're not going back in time.
No, we're not. Ever.
I'm sorry, folks. My throat, I'm a little under the weather. I would give you a Dynamite Huey Lewis cover. I'm not going to be able to today.
Because we don't have the graphics for it. Thanks to the Gap for providing me with a sweater that I had to pay full price for. But
thanks to the Husky Man store for providing me this shirt, which I found out of a hamper before I came to do the show today. Right. Tarboro, Southwest Edgecombe, both on the road this week. Folks, take the road trip. Yes. Head to beautiful Elizabeth City. Head to beautiful wherever James Keenan is. I'm sure you can Google it, find it on the map.
Fact-checking ruins the show.
It can't be that hard. Head out, catch you a little bit more high school football because quickly the season's coming to an end. Ed, basketball soon?
Yeah.
Super duper.
I'm excited.
All right.
It's going to be a wide open Big East this year.
We said about everything all the time.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Folks, big thanks to our producer, Desmond McManus.
Yes.
Our technical producer, one named Lee.
Good job.
Fantastic. Folks, he's Ed Green. I'm Wes Bradshaw. The Ravens behind us. He says thanks to everyone as well. God, that is terrifying. Folks, we will see everyone back here next week on the All New Sports Show brought to you by Roger G. Taylor and Associates right here on WHIG TV.
Pretty bird.
Good night,
Pretty
America.
Bird. Can you say pretty bird? Paul, you want a cracker? Show presented by Roger G. Taylor and Associates. We're back with another great episode here. Wes Bradshaw will be. Hello and welcome everyone.
Wade Designs Jewelry is closing its doors forever. It's our final sale and everything must go. We're selling it all. Big savings on fine jewelry with markdowns up to 70% off. That's right, 70% off on exclusive John Wade designer pieces, diamonds, pearls, birthstones, and more. Our final sale means you save big. Find the perfect holiday gifts at unbeatable prices. Save up to 70% off store-wide during our final sale where everything must go. Stop in and see how much you can save at Wade Designs Jewelry on Zebulon Road in Rocky Mount.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service. We offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family. And we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.